What if I told you that a city from one of the world's most ancient epics wasn't just a story, that the golden city of a god, said to have been lost to the sea thousands of years ago, might actually be real? Well, deep beneath the Arabian Sea, there's a discovery that does just that, blurring that line between myth and history. This is the incredible, sunken mystery of Dwarka.
So let's go back to 1983. Picture this. You're a diver, exploring the seabed off the coast of Gujarat. You're probably expecting to see, sand and fish. But instead, you come across the impossible. High, fortified walls, a grid of wide roads, even intricate sculptures. You've just stumbled upon a massive, planned city just sitting there in the depths, an echo of a long-lost civilization.
And that discovery immediately sparked a huge question. I mean, could these ruins actually be the fabled city of Dwarka, the divine kingdom built by Lord Krishna himself, which ancient texts claim was swallowed by the ocean thousands of years ago?
To really get what the scientists found, we first have to understand the story they were searching for. So let's dive into the legend of this almost unbelievable mythical city.
Now, what's interesting is that there are kind of two of Dwarkas. You've got the modern city right on the coast of Gujarat, a huge pilgrimage site. But the real mystery, the one we're chasing, is about 34 kilometers away, completely submerged beneath the waves. That is Bet Dwarka, what's believed to be the original, legendary kingdom.
So how did this incredible city even come into being? And maybe more importantly, why did it just vanish? For that, we've got to turn to ancient Hindu texts, like the Mahabharata. And the story they tell, well, it's an epic all on its own. The legend starts with Krishna having to flee his home of Mathura after being attacked over and over again. To keep his people safe, he needed a new haven. The texts say he prayed to the sea god, who then granted him a massive 96 square kilometers of land, literally pulled up from the ocean. And it was right there that a glorious, golden city was built. For years, Dwarka was this shining symbol of peace and prosperity. But its fate was sealed at the very end of the Great Mahabharata War. The grieving Queen Gandhari, who had just seen all 100 of her sons killed, blamed Krishna for not stopping the bloodshed. And in her agony, she let loose this powerful curse on him and his entire clan, the Yadavas.
And that curse set off a tragic chain reaction. First, Gandhari's curse put a 36-year countdown on their entire civilization. Then, a second curse just sped things up after Krishna's own son mocked some sages, which led to the creation of a powerful iron mace, the very tool of their doom. Sure enough, 36 years later, the tragedy happened. The Yadava clan just wiped each other out, and with his work on Earth seemingly done, Krishna departed, and the ocean surged in to reclaim the now empty city of Dwarka.
And for centuries, that's all it was, a powerful legend, a story. But what happens when modern science decides to go looking for actual proof? Well, that kicks off the modern hunt for a lost city.
This search has been a long and patient one. Early attempts back in the 1930s didn't find much, but then in 1963, things started to shift. The real game changer, though, came between 79 and 90, when Dr. S.R. Rao used sonar and revealed these stunning underwater structures. Then, in 2000, they found an even bigger city-like grid, way down deep. And just recently, in 2024, the whole world started paying attention again after India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi actually went down and performed an underwater prayer at the site.
And this is where the story gets truly incredible. Because the teams weren't just finding any old city. They were finding these chillingly specific parallels to the descriptions from the ancient texts. This is that exact point where myth crashes right into archaeology. I mean, just look at how these line up. The Mahabharata talks about a Vari Durg, which is a water fortress, and what do archaeologists find? A 560-meter fortified wall. The texts mention citizen ID seals, and they've found tons of seals with animal carvings. The lore talks about 7 islands surrounding the city, and satellite data suggests they were really there. A prosperous port? Yep, confirmed by the discovery of these big triangular stone anchors. The connections are just uncanny.
And it gets even more specific. The ancient descriptions of Dwarka's palaces mention 50 magnificent pillars. And so far, underwater teams have already found 30 of them. The physical evidence is it's really mounting.
But here's the million-dollar question. Does the timeline match? Well, carbon dating of artifacts they found down there, things like pottery, places the city's existence right around 1500 BC. And that puts it squarely in the time frame that's always been associated with the Mahabharata.
So with a location that matches, artifacts that match, and a timeline that matches, it seems like the case is closed, right? Well, not quite. Despite all this incredible evidence, Dwarka is still a super compelling and very much unsolved underwater mystery.
So the biggest question still hanging out there is, why did it sink? We've got two main theories. On one hand, you have the mythological cause, divine curses, internal conflict, but there's also a really compelling scientific theory. A geologist, Dr. Rajiv Nigam, suggests that about 3,500 years ago, sea levels were way lower. So Dwarka could have been built on land that was, back then, coastal. But as the ice caps melted, the ocean rose and it slowly swallowed up coastlines that were once totally habitable. Maybe the two theories aren't even contradictory. One could be the why, and the other is the how.
And the hunt for answers is more active today than ever before. This is not a cold case. The Archaeological Survey of India has launched a brand new, super intensive phase of research. There are teams on site right now, using the latest tech to figure out what these ruins are telling us.
And boy, do they have a lot of questions. Local legends claim the city was destroyed and rebuilt 6 times before its final fall. Is there any proof of that? Was the sinking a sudden, catastrophic event, or did it happen slowly over time? And of course, the biggest question of all, can we ever find that one single piece of evidence that says, without a shadow of a doubt, this was Krishna's Dwarka?
So here's what we're left with. The ancient texts told us the city was lost. Modern science has found one. That connection is so tantalizingly close, it just leaves you wondering, what other truths, what other hidden histories are just waiting for us down there in the deep?